It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, what a weekend as we are the city of champions in Greenville and Pitt County. World champions. Congratulations to the Pitt County softball team. They are your Little League World Series champions of the 50th edition. First time that a team who is hosted has won the whole enchilada. So Brad Metis, in just a moment, he's going to be with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We're also going to hear from Pirate coordinators John David Baker and Blake Harold today following the scrimmage. Get some thoughts on that. And then ECU's new director of track and field and cross country will be on with us. So it's a pretty busy show today. Philip the Ref Pilkington is here, and he was our man on the scene today gathering the audio for all of the goings-on. With the coordinators. Look, one of the poignant comments, and we'll hear more from Blake Harrell about football, but he talked about the championship won by the Pitt County softball team and gave them a shout.
First of all, shout out to the Little League Softball World Series champions. That's awesome. My daughters all three play softball at Sarah Law, and just so I got to know some of those kids out there, and just an amazing group of girls and what they've been able to accomplish. And just my wife and my family were at the game yesterday, and I got to walk out there for the very last out, saw it a little bit on TV from the office here. And just the way this community and the way the city of Greenville supports, our local sports, our community, our youth leagues, and also East Carolina. Just what an awesome place to live, and it's been a really special place. And I think I tweeted that out yesterday, but that was just, kudos to those girls and those coaches and the whole city of Greenville that made that happen and just put on the World Series as well. So just wanted to start with that.
Pretty cool gesture there from Blake Harrell, and he, of course, congratulating the world champion Pitt County softball team. So let's go to the man of the hour who coached a lot of the young ladies of the hour. Brad Metis joins us here, the manager of the Pitt County All-Stars who won the Little League Softball World Championship. Dr. Metis, thank you for taking time with us here. I know it's been a busy 24, 30 some odd hours for you.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for a couple of days, a little longer than that. This whole 10 days period here has been pretty hectic and pretty wild, but well worth it at the end. Well worth it.
So you win yesterday, obviously, a pair of thrilling games, back-to-back games, 1-0 games at that. And you got to do it before a home crowd. In a way, it was sort of cool that it got moved over to Joyner Family Stadium, which is a great facility because it allowed more people, I think, in to watch. And, boy, did the community turn out.
Yeah, that's one thing that we almost get sort of spoiled a little bit, right? The community is so great here, and the crowd shows up, and not just they're there, but they're loud, they're supportive, they're everything you could ask for when it comes to support from your crowd and your local community. It's pretty cool. And yes, it was a little different being at ECU than at Elm Street, and a little different feel being on the college field. Both really cool experiences. So it's pretty special to get to do both actually the same week.
Yeah, that kind of was cool. Maybe they can work something to do that out in the future. I think that's just kind of a neat environment. Nothing against Elm Street, but boy, that's kind of a cool environment at ECU. Dr. Brad Metis, the manager of the Pitt County softball team and world champion coach, joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. So 42 zip in your first 3 games, and then a pair of 1-0 games yesterday. And it seemed like your team didn't show any nerves. They answered the bell.
Yeah, I think, we've been consistent with our message. The girls, obviously, these first few games, runs came easy. We continue to talk to them that at some point we're going to be in a tight spot. There's going to be some pressure. We're going to be in a close game. And we know we can count on our pitchers, and they continue to deliver game in and game out as far as quality pitches not giving up many hits, not giving up free bases. And so we knew we could win both ways if we had to. Obviously, it's a little not quite as stressful for the coaches and the fans when it's 12-0 or 16-0 versus wait until the fifth inning to score a first run. But we knew we could play both ways. We knew we could score, and knew we could play defense. So we were comfortable either way.
Yeah, and great pitching, and we'll get into some of that in a moment. I got to imagine it's a different kind of focus. You're going to have their attention, and you want to keep them loose in the games like yesterday that were tight and so much on the line. But keeping them focused, that's kind of a different challenge, I would have to imagine, like you had probably to do. Not that you all had to do, because it seemed like the players did that. But that's the other thing, I guess, in those first three games is they were relative cakewalks, but it seemed like this team, they kind of were playing with the mantra of unfinished business the whole way through, it seemed.
Yeah, they were. And obviously just from the first game, we jumped out and scored early and often, and that sort of just continued through. So the girls got loose and comfortable right at the beginning of this tournament, right? And so then that just sort of builds game to game. And even into the fourth game, as we get into the doubleheader yesterday, they're still really loose. Even as we don't score, still not getting worried. It was helpful we never fell behind. I don't know what would have happened if we would have fallen behind. That might have changed the tide in the dugout a little bit more. But we were always even, never behind. And so the girls never really got tight, even as we weren't hitting quite as much yesterday. I mean, there were two really good pitchers that we faced yesterday, both of them throwing really good and moving the ball well. So it's a little different look for us. And so, And both times, sort of middle end of our lineup that found a way to score and scratch one out.
North Carolina and Pitt County knocks off the representative from Louisiana, the Southwestern champ in the World Series final yesterday before a national television audience on ABC. Brad Metis is the coach, and he joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show after an exciting couple of games yesterday in the victory. All three games actually were excellent yesterday. When you look at the time period where you started off so hot and then Debbie comes and it sort of noodles with the schedule. Now, granted, your team had a day or two off already kind of built in the schedule by virtue of the victories, but were you concerned about that maybe changing? It's a different dynamic. You move over to ECU, as you stated. Anything with the weather that was, a concern about maybe throwing your team's preparation or anything like that off?
Well, I think a little bit. You worry about the long break. Fortunately, in this situation, everybody was in the same boat a little, essentially. And
sure.
we probably had more advantage than they being on our home turf. We were able to get over to the next level to hit a couple times and get indoors and do a little bit of work, a little easier maybe than some teams from a ton. So that was maybe a little advantage to us. It does throw off your normal prep. You're not really on the dirt for several days. So that's your concern when you get back out there. But we battled through it and we never got too worried. We were just thankful we were finally able to get the games in, and thankful we got to go to ECU because it still would have been another day or two before we could have got on Elm Street, and then it rained again. So I don't know what that would have looked like, but yeah.
And Brad, it seemed like your team handled the move to ECU pretty well. I watched some of the other teams and not only your opponents, but then some of the other games. It seemed like the teams that there were some teams that really struggled with that move as far as, I don't know, maybe depth perception, particularly in the field. It just seemed like that your team really handled that transition very effectively.
Yeah, and I think that as we move to that bigger field and a college-sized outfield, some not used to playing on it. We play on a relatively big field at Sarah Law compared to some. We're used to a little bit bigger outfield.
Right.
We have the benefit of we put more balls in play in the outfield than get put in against us, so it doesn't put as much pressure on the outfield, and we put a lot of pressure on theirs. So it is something that you can tell outfield-wise that when you open them up and make them a little bit bigger, covering those gaps and taking good angles is a little harder if you haven't played on a field of that size, for sure. Definitely different.
And defensively, I thought your team was excellent. I know you had tremendous pitching, but defensively, it seemed like when the other team was going to the small ball game or the opponents were going, your players were right where they needed to be. Obviously, it helps when your pitchers are on their toes because they know your fielders are on their toes because they know the pitchers are so good. It just seemed like what your pitchers felt like they could make pitches because they did know they had a defense behind them that could make plays.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a pitcher's got to have confidence in who's behind her, and I think all of our pitchers understand what our defense can do. And this group's been together so long, and when you start talking about small ball, and we've our coaching staff, Brandon Peebles and Percy Edwards, we've been pounding bunt defense for years and years into them, and it's the same group and the same rotations, and they could cover a bunt with their eyes closed, I think, these days, and they just know where they're going to be, and they know who's moving where, and they just communicate well, almost nonverbal at this point. They just sort of know who's going to do what on those plays, and we were very prepared that especially Louisiana was going to go small ball. We knew they didn't have the biggest hitting group, but they had some speed, and they were going to try it, and we were ready for it, for sure.
The game yesterday, scoreless through 4, and then in the 5th, you get the leadoff single, and then Candace Lynn comes in and hits the triple. Well, I saw you kind of giving her the high five, fired up over there after she got on third. Did you get the sense when you finally got that third hit of the day that that was going to be the makings of an opportunity for you all to play to run?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that it was a unique situation. We get there in the 5th. Anna Rose comes up with a big 2-out single just to sort of get something started. We've been struggling to do anything, right, hit-wise. And Candace comes up. We'd actually moved her down in the lineup for the first time. She'd been struggling here at the World Series a little bit, confidence, seeing the ball a little bit. And so we made a move for the last game, moved her down, and it's sort of how things go, right? You make a change, and it still falls to that person as she's down the lineup. And we've been talking to her that doesn't matter where you hit, that all the other at bats this tournament don't matter. All that matters is the next one. And she finally bought in, I think, that last one, and she put some good swings on the ball, and she's an incredibly strong girl. So she was due. We know how well she can hit, and
sure.
She got one loose, and Anna Rose, she's got a lot of speed, so I knew she was going to get around there, and yeah, just getting that one run felt like that was going to be enough. Yeah.
Brad, when you look at last year and you guys get there and you don't capture it, and that was obviously again a mantra, some fuel for you all. But how long did it take to kind of shake that bitter taste from your mouth? The kids, even though they were fired up and wanted to come back, they're resilient, especially at that age, it seems like.
They are.
But but how long did it kind of take collectively, the group, to get that out of their system, or was it already pretty short turnaround? Hey, we're going to be ready to make a run next year.
You're correct. It takes probably the adults a little longer to shake it out. The coaching staff,
right?
See how close we were and some things we could have done different, and thinking about that stuff. But at the same time, like I said, the same coaching staff this year as last year. All three of us, we've been together through a lot of things, and so quickly we turned the page as we move back. You sort of have this. The way this falls, these couple weeks before school starts, and things sort of get going again. You sort of have that probably a couple weeks there where we sort of sat on things, and then sort of turn the page and know that we've got a group coming back of 6, and we've got some players that we knew would be coming in that could add to that, and that we'd have a very strong team coming up for this year. So we quickly started putting the pieces together and what it would look like for the next year, and working on those pieces and the pitching pieces, right? Braylon and Kinsey didn't pitch a lot last year in the tournaments. They've worked incredibly hard and made huge strides. Brooklyn made more strides. So our pitching staff, it takes a lot of hours on your own to be a good pitcher. And so to have 3 girls who put that much time in is pretty unique and pretty special. But yeah, we turned the page pretty quick, and certainly the girls pretty darn quickly. I know, our motto was born pretty early after last year's tournament. There's no doubt.
Right. So Brooklyn, one of those that'll be aging to the next level. There's a nexus of this group that will be have played together for several years. That'll be what's the next level for this group collectively, potentially, and then that involves school ball. But what else will that involve?
Yeah, so that'll involve obviously most of them will be they'll be their seventh graders or eighth graders this year, so they'll still have a year or two of middle school left before they go to high school, and look forward to that. And a large group of them play on the same travel team, so we'll be moving up and travel ball into some older age tournaments and continue to grow. But the core group these girls will still be playing a lot of ball together moving forward, which is nice.
I know you told Henry earlier today that as far as Little League goes, you're going to turn over the reins and the opportunities coaching wise. So I don't know if you got a lucrative offer to go anywhere else or what, but I'm kidding, of course. But do you look, this is all you guys do this out of passion and love and volunteer. It's an amazing thing. Do you foresee yourself continuing to coach and be involved that way?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the same group of three, we all coach together for our travel team, the Heartbreakers right now. And so certainly see myself doing that. I think that when it comes to the Little League coaching and what we've done, this group really the last 3-4 years, really 4 summers for me, that it eats up pretty much a whole summer of Little League softball. And so if you play to the end, which this group pretty much has played to the very last game for the last 4 years at their age group that they could play. So it's a long summer, and I think that for that part of it, it's probably time for me to hand it off to the next person in line here, the next age group, and be a cheerleader and a help from afar, and be there as much as we can. I know this group definitely is ones that still be around and be helpful, but just won't be probably the ones on the field.
Last thing for you here, just kind of as you leave this, the community and the softball community is obviously in a pretty healthy place. It seems like there is motivation and infrastructure to keep this up and have a team competing year in and year out at this high level. Just maybe kind of the state, because you've been a big part of it. There's some others I know who have put a lot of time in over the years to get the softball program overall, which was the last 20 years, it's grown leaps and bounds. There are ups and downs, but right now seems to be and is, because of this championship, one of the peak positions. Is it set up for future success in your mind?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pitt County Girls Softball League continues to grow. Our numbers continue to grow recently after sort of dwindling down a few years ago. Sort of is just youth sports kind of struggling in some areas a little bit. Our league has really grown since with the World Series coming to town and success we've had, number of girls we've had, the talent we have coming up is there. Pitt County is going to continue to be competitive and to be fighting for a spot at this World Series and to win this thing year in and year out. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And that comes from not just now, but from years and years of building this program back to the pre-Little League when we were Babe Ruth, a dominant program in the Babe Ruth leagues, softball wise. And so the folks that have built it before us, our community continues to support it. There's no reason we're not going to continue to be competitive. Just girls sports, women's sports continue to grow. Softball on a national stage, especially at the collegiate level, very popular and continues to grow. So I think we'll continue to see this just build and build and build. 2 years now we've been on ABC for the championship game. It is something that promoting and growing of girls sports continues to be shown to be popular, and it's going to continue to grow. I don't see any doubt about that.
Brad Meadows with us. Congratulations on the championship to you and the team. What an awesome accomplishment.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and it's quite a feeling, that's for sure.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Patrick Johnson Show here from the Pirate Coordinators right after this.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
How cool was that yesterday with the team winning the championship? Great to have Brad Metis on with us in a far cry from last year. Pilk, I understand things were a little rocky at the at the scrimmage. I mean, I'm laughing, but things were a little tough for the offense at the scrimmage. Good for the defense at times.
Yeah,
But there's, I don't want to say there's some concerns, but there is, they're still maybe learning the ropes, as it were. Am I being a little too Pollyanna, a little too positive with my assessment?
no, I think it's
Understand they couldn't
understandable.
run the ball.
Yeah, no, I was talking to Sports Information Director Malcolm Gray about this, and we agreed that in all of our years of being around football, we've never watched a first scrimmage in which the offense won. No matter what.
Right.
When Holton Ahlers was the quarterback, the offense lost the first scrimmage. I've been a part of teams that I played in. Defense always won the first scrimmage. And also the first scrimmage always looks a little bit sloppy. On top of that, the heat was, wow. Turned to, the humidity more so coming.
Yeah, it got really hot.
It felt like to me when I was standing on the sidelines that it was raining from the ground up because the water was evaporating out of Bermuda. Now, not an excuse, right? Elements are part of it, and I get that, so I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have one bad day, maybe everybody's going to have one bad day at camp, and supposedly, from what we've been told, this was a bad day, or at least for the offense. Hey, they're out there scrimmaging each other every day. They have 11 on 11 full go. It just might not be in the game filled with a play clock. And I'm sure the offense has won just as many days as the defense has won. And if they're winning 50% of the days against this defense, they're doing a darn good job. So
Yeah. All right, we've got a lot of cuts here. We'll get through as many as we can. I think it would be prudent to at least do the offense today. And we'll see where we are because we do have Coach Givens, Virgil Givens, going to be with us as well today. He'll meet with the media tomorrow, but we're talking to him first here on the Patrick Johnson Show. All right, let's jump into our Pirate Report. John David Baker with his thoughts on the offense so far.
I really like where we're at, and our guys they're bought into what we're trying to do, and we've put a lot on them in the last 3 weeks. Just because, like we tell them, we're just trying to give them as much as we can going into a game, as far as a menu of things we can go to and be able to go execute at a high level. And I'm really, really pleased with those guys. It doesn't matter if it's that first group, second group, third group. I think they've all done a good job just trying to absorb all the information that we've given them and trying to execute it the best they can.
Quarterback competition. Here's an update on that.
The last 7 months have been big, but this week is huge for those guys. Just just Coach Houston and I wanted to make a decision as fast as possible, just so that guy can get as many reps as he possibly can, with that first group. And it's hard because they've both done a great job. They're both executing at a high level. And the thing about them, they're both competitive. As guys, if I've been around, they both want it. But it is a huge week, and it all come down to the same things that it's been the whole time, just consistency, protecting the football, and making the guys around you better.
That seems to be the big thing, the protecting of the football. Now, the defense made a play that I guess they didn't make in the practices leading up to the scrimmage Saturday on a ball. But I think with this, you got to take care of the football. It's almost like the turnovers, as bad as things were last year, and there were some bad turnovers at times last year, bad interceptions, but the 3 and out and the offense just being in neutral, reverse in some cases last year. I mean, that was really bad. But anytime you can't flip the field, or you don't have that potential to flip the field, the turnovers are killers. And we saw that turnovers were killers last year when it seemed like when they happened. As stuck in the mud as the offense was, and as tough as that was. They did that. They did this was the first scrimmage with the communication with the quarterback and the defensive coaches with the linebacker. And we heard from John David Baker on how, that went as far as the in-helmet communication on Saturday?
It was good. It was a good practice. You know, I'm glad we'll get a couple more test runs at it. The biggest difference on Saturday was actually having the kill switch with the mic going out at 15 seconds. We have not had that obviously in practice without a play clock, and that was nice. And hopefully we don't ever reach that too often, but there will be times that we do, and make sure that I'm locked in and seeing when that thing goes off. But I love it. I think the quarterbacks love it. Just me being able to give them a little piece of information on every snap. It's changed the game for sure.
You know, and the other thing, it allowed the game operations with the clock and all that to factor into executing. So it sounds like that went pretty flawlessly, and they'll have some other opportunities for that. So that's a positive. All right, so the benefits against playing such a tough defense every day. Pilk, I think this probably has a little bit to do with what you were talking about, and that is this is a really good defense, particularly up front, and they've gotten some good play in the secondary so far. So what does that mean for the offense? Well, this is Coach Baker's assessment of going against that tough Pirate defense every day.
That's what's encouraging for us, and just knowing how good Blake and those guys are, and I think we know it. But I don't think we quite realize how good they really, really are. I mean, they are deep as can be up front. They give you a lot of different looks. And so for us and our side of the ball, you know, the more success we can have, the more, you know, consistent success, sustained success that we can have, you know, it gives us confidence being able to go move the ball against anybody in this league. Because I've got a hard time just imagining us playing a defense that's going to give us as many looks with this quality of players as we see every day in practice. And it's made us better. It's made me better as a play caller, just having to get creative in how we do certain things, because, you know, it's not only the scheme, but, you know, Coach Harrell and the rest of that defense staff, they're great coaches, man. And they coach those guys extremely hard. They play hard. And that's, you know, that's to be expected. They've done it for several years now. And so it's made us better as an offense, and that's what you want. You want that competition, because at the end of the day, here in about 2.5 weeks, we're going to be on the same sideline, and it's going to be what we want.
Some good points there. And Coach Baker on how the big guys are dealing with this upshift in tempo.
Yeah, I've said it before. They got the hardest job, you know, especially in fall camp when it's, you know, 95 degrees, but that heat index is about 110. It's been an adjustment for them, but now a week and a half, almost 2 weeks into camp, you know, they're starting to play themselves into shape. They can run all they want in the summertime, but until you really go do it and have to go lean on somebody and do it really fast, it just takes time. But they're getting their legs under them, which is encouraging. I thought it jumped on them a little bit in the scrimmage. You know, we came out quick, executed at a high level, and all of a sudden we got tired and we didn't execute at the same level. We missed communications up front. And that just takes time. And the other thing is those scrimmages it's not a real game, because they go and then they're up about 5 minutes later. You know, you're not getting that break in between series, and so but it trains them for the real deal. And I like where they're at. I love where they're at. I love the way that they're playing. They're playing with a certain edge and physicality, and they got to be the guys that lead up front for sure.
All right, this is more from John David Baker, Pirate offensive coordinator, on Rahjai Harris and his status and how he's playing in the preseason fall camp.
It's been nice. You know, just not only just the player that he is, but just the leadership. You know, you miss that. Just a guy that's got a smile on his face. You know that when a run's there, he's going to hit it. But just his overall leadership more than anything. You love the great player, but you love the person even more. And just the energy that he brings. Can't wait to get Marlon back rolling here soon. And I feel really good about where that room will be.
All right, and more here from JDB, the receiver depth for the Pirates.
Yeah, it's really by committee, and I've said that all along, and it's going to take every guy in there, because I could tell you the usual names that Winston and Anthony and those guys, but we had a 5-play cut up this morning in the unit meeting about Brock Spalding and how he's played this fall camp and how he's played with the ball and without the ball in his hand. The times that, you know, Jari's been in there, he's been electric with the ball in his hand. You got young guys flashing, which is what you want. And so there is some real depth in that room. The hardest part for us is just going to be finding ways to use everybody, and we've got ways, but we got to get the ball in certain people's hands because we've got a lot of explosive guys in that room.
To me, I think that what we heard there was not panic by any stretch of the imagination, Pilk. I think there were some that were a little panicked after what they saw and what they heard. And this is a brand new offense, and despite the new quarterbacks, despite the depth at receiver and the additions at receiver, the offensive line didn't have an overhaul. And so, guys that frankly struggled, or guys that, had some snaps lost because of injury, find themselves having to come and now get adapted to a style offensively they weren't recruited for. This is not to make an excuse. It's just, this is a complete deviation in past philosophy. And so to me, it would be the most difficult. It's just difficult for everybody. Everybody's getting to know everybody. That's why you have the fall camp. If it had been a game, I'm sure the Green Street Bridge would have impacted. And I think you're right. I think the offense will be, when they have their next scrimmage, the offense will look vastly different.
Oh, I'm sure it will. It always does. It seems like whoever wins the first scrimmage loses the second one. But, on top of it, he's realistic. Not last year. He was realistic. Like, look, you're facing probably the best defense in the conference every week. So if you're out there kicking their butt, hey, you're in a pretty good spot. But also, like you said, a lot of these returning starters on defense, they're returning starters, and they've played with Blake Harrell for 4 years. A lot of guys on this offense are not returning starters, and it's a new system. And, talking to the O-line, look, as long as they can protect these quarterbacks for 2-3 seconds, boom, that ball's going to be out, or at least
that's the thing. You don't have to have – it's a situation you don't have to – your protections don't have to be for several seconds at a time. You just have to kind of, as you say, give it a couple seconds, and then the play will be executed, in theory.
I think the big thing with this O-line is going to be between the ears, and they are smart. I would say there's a lot of high IQ football players on this team. The big thing they have to do is not get caught by stunts and blitzes that they didn't see coming. As long as they hit everybody, they're good. It's not going to be about how big they are, how physical they are. It's going to be really about how smart they are, and I think that there's a lot of high IQ guys on this O-line.
Well, I agree, but I also think it's about conditioning with this thing. If their conditioning is up, they'll be fine. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We're going to talk to Virgil Givens to wrap up the show today. But first, a timeout. Pilk will give you an update on everything going on in the world of sports. It is a full edition on this Monday of the Patrick Johnson Show. Thanks for being with us here today. Welcome back. Patrick Johnson Show continues on as we inch closer and closer to football and the academic year beginning. And that, of course, brings with it all kinds of sports. Track and field, cross country is one of them. And last week, it's been quite an active few months for the ECU program as our friend Kirk Kraft retired. And last week, Virgil Givens was named the new head coach or new director of the track and field program and cross-country programs at East Carolina. Coach Givens joins us now here on the show. It's nice to have you on. Virgil, congratulations to you. Welcome to Greenville.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Let's start with just a little bit about yourself. Kind of tell us what got you going in the direction of track and field. I presume you were an athlete in it in the middle and high school years and just kind of matriculated that way with coaching.
Yes. Was an athlete, and I played just a year of arena football. And during that time period, I was kind of in an area that I wasn't accustomed to. So during my free time, I would go to a park and see some kids and really just started helping them with speed training, and you'd say like general strength and conditioning. And I guess you'd say, to make a long story short, that kind of led me into sports performance work, which led me into training high school kids for a track and field team, Millbrook High School. And then I guess you'd say just kind of worked the ranks from high school to volunteer coach to Division I assistant to head coach, and now here at the ECU.
What a story. Nobody's path is ever the same. All right, so which arena football team were you with?
It was Reading Express in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay. How'd you like arena football?
It was not fun. It was not fun. Not at all. Just to be transparent, man. You go from running the ball, to blocking linebackers or safeties or corners to blocking D linemen on a regular basis and getting hit into a sideline or flipped over. It just wasn't the same.
And those paychecks for that arena football, just I having done a little bit of arena football commentary, I still think I'm owed money for those days, actually. So.
And see, I was arena 2, so I didn't even get the money they get in arena 1. It was even worse.
Yeah. No, arena 1 was high cotton. Trust me. The arena 2 or whatever, I was arena 18 or something. It was I was sitting there thinking, man, what am I? When we had to leave the air so they could begin the rock show, even though the game was not over, I thought, okay, well, this is maybe not all it's cracked up to be. Virgil Givens joining us here. So from Millbrook, you get the opportunity at Campbell, and I do want to talk about some of your years in Bowie's Creek. I do find it interesting that was a situation where it seemed like you and the coaches you worked with and the athletes built something up that became a regular contender. This is a program that is one that has been one of a lot of steadiness and consistency, only the third director of the program with Bill Carson and Kurt Kraft. So challenges as all of these jobs are, but certainly a different set of circumstances. That has to be kind of a unique responsibility, I have to imagine, that you feel like you have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What when you look at the Campbell program, take us back through that. When you got there, not a great deal of history, and then the championship opportunities presented themselves, and you all captured championships. So how did that kind of come about, the Campbell job, and then just, how the program, how you built it up?
So Campbell came after me. Really, it was just after I continued to have some success with some high school kids that they were trying to recruit and just weren't getting when we were at Millbrook. And so I initially started there as an assistant, very little money, and it was kind of like, the head coach was kind of like, prove that you can do what you did at high school, prove that you can do it here at the college level. And so I pretty much just started off really just trying to get some, I guess you say, like, developmental kids, the kids that I felt as though I saw they had the intangibles. They just needed to have someone, I guess you say, tweak them and get them to the next level. And then from there, he started being able to give me more scholarships and give me a chance to get more kids. Fast forward, he had left the program, and I got a blessing to get the interim job. And during that time period, for me, it was really about, hey, let's not try to be a jack of all trades. Let's try to be a master of one. And once we master something, then, hey, we can move on to kind of add to that. But let's be known for something. Let's and not be known for something on a small level, but let's be known for something on a national level. And so we kind of sought out to making sure that we were known throughout the entire country of sprints, hurdles, and jumps. And we really, really trained hard. We brought really talented athletes that may have not had the greatest times or heights just yet, but that, again, like, hey, I can see it with my eye that this kid has something. Let's train him up and let's get the best out of him. And we were blessed to go into a really, really cool conference championship. I think it was 2022 indoor. And we went in there just as we would do with ECU when we lit the place up. Everyone knew who we were. They knew what we were there to do. And we held no punches. And so it was a really, really cool time to see it all come together and to see the excitement on the kids' faces. yes, we were able to capture that first school conference championship.
We're speaking to Virgil Givens, the new director of the track and field and cross country program at East Carolina. Coach, what was attractive about the East Carolina job?
Man, what's not? Like, there's nothing to me that ECU doesn't have that you can't be extremely successful here. The environment is amazing. The location is great. I would kind of turn that question back around and say, what's not attractive about here? In my opinion, we can build a national powerhouse team here that can compete for championships on a consistent basis. We just have to get the train moving, and that's no knock to Coach Kraft or what was done before me. I think he's done an amazing job with the consistency over the years, and how he's, the kids that have graduated, the kids that have done so much for this program, for this community, and the university. But, for me, it was just that when you look at ECU, plus I didn't, have to move too far away.
Right.
To me, it was a no-brainer.
I assume you've, since you're in Greenville and you're on campus, you'll meet with the media tomorrow. I assume that you've had an opportunity to either meet with the team, bits of them maybe in person who are already in town. If not, certainly, as is popular now, video conference or Zoom. What was your message to them when you met with that group?
So I haven't met with the team yet.
Okay.
We just really spoke through Zoom, and I just kind of introduced myself and got off. I'll meet with them, I believe, on the 19th. But at the end of the day, my message to them and to the entire program is going to be, we're here to take care of business. And we're here to make sure that the nation knows who we are, that when they see the purple jersey come through, or that black or that white or that yellow, whatever colors that we don, but when you see ECU or you see East Carolina, that you understand what they do and you know that they're coming.
Do you have a particular, I know it's been busy, but did you have any occasion to watch the Olympics, track and field in particular?
Yes.
All right, give me the analysis, Coach. Tell me what you liked about it.
I mean, man, just I guess ultimately to see, we had so much go on. We had athletes that believed that they could do something and they came out and they did it. We had athletes that were expected to do something but didn't do it. And then we had utter chaos in some areas. I thought, the U.S. really got a chance to, for the most part, show their dominance and show how good we are. But I also thought it was really, really good to see those small countries come and get a gold. So, I mean, I loved every part of it. There were so many competitions and finals that, in my opinion, I was at the edge of my seat, just like, oh my God, I cannot believe that just happened. So it was great.
Well, a week away from formally meeting with the team in person, as you said, you met with them on Zoom, gave the introduction, and I know you're looking forward to getting the men and women of the program back on campus and get them into your system you plan to implement. We appreciate you being on. Looking forward to meeting you in person soon, and anytime we can get the word out or anything you want to promote, let us know. We're happy to do it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and thank you for all you do.
Virgil Givens, thank you. Great to have him on with us. Appreciate those kind words, and wish him the very best. Boy, what a show today, Pilk. And I mean, I feel like we barely have scratched the surface of anything, but we'll have some more comments tomorrow from the scrimmage, and we'll have Dimitri Ravanos with us tomorrow, talking some college football. He's also part of a sports podcast fest that is coming to the Triangle area next week. We'll tell you all of the details about that tomorrow. But again, congratulations to the Pitt County softball team as they win the Little League Softball World Series. I don't, there's going to be they're not going to want to move this to Pitt County move it to ECU. But to me, it would almost be the thing to do when you get to a certain point. I don't know if ECU would be willing to do that, and I might just be pulling stuff out of my posterior.
I think
But,
would be the
to
tough
me-
thing is you'd probably have to pay ECU money if you're Little League. It'd be the unfortunate
That's
thing.
true. That's true. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with Elm Street. I guess it's good to know you have that as a backup if, the weather becomes a problem again, which, I mean, the time of year they hold this, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So, Pilk, anything out of the weekend that you feel like we need to make a mention of that we did not? I watched the golf yesterday, and with the guy from Duke, Max, just choked like a dog. Choked like a choking dog yesterday.
Yeah, it was rough. I
He had
didn't
a
watch
snowman.
golf.
He had a 2.
Yeah.
Got an eagle like on 13, and then a damn snowman on the next one, and then missed a couple putts. I mean, we've all been there, right?
We have. Well, I don't know if I've ever eagled a par 4, but I've definitely had the.
Oh, but you've had a snowman. You've had a snowman and missed some short putts.
Yeah,
right. We all
that
have
I've done. But no, I think like you said earlier, we feel like we haven't scratched the surface. We got to the important things. We got to Little League softball. We got to East Carolina. We got to the important things. But we got plenty of content from this weekend to get us through the week. I can tell you that because after we talked to Gluck, I wanted to ask you just real quick, yes or no. We don't have time to get into it. Did you watch the race? Did you see the end? Did you see the craziness?
No, I didn't. I understand Austin Dillon invoked a little Earnhardt and winning in overtime.
Yep, he did. Hey, 3 dumping the 11 at Richmond had happened before, but like you said, Earnhardt and Waltrip were the drivers.
Yeah, but that was a good throwback there. An exciting finish. That's what NASCAR needed.
Yep.
All right. Thanks to Virgil Givens. Thanks to Brad Metis. Dimitri Ravanos tomorrow. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town back here at 5 for the PJ Show.